Alright, here's the deal. I just learned Mandarin to a conversational level in about 6 months to surprise my girlfriend and her family. And now I'm going to destroy everything you think you know about language learning. Today we're ranking language learning methods from absolute garbage to language acquisition gold. And spoiler alert, your favorite language learning method might end up somewhere surprising. Because here's what happened. I tried everything, and after thousands of hours of experimenting, thousands of dollars spent, and one very surprised girlfriend, I finally cracked the code. Almost everything most people are taught about learning a language is wrong. So let's rank these methods from worst to best. I'll tell you exactly what worked, exactly what didn't, and what information out there is total BS. Start with the OG method, traditional language classes. You know the drill by now. El perro es negro. But you still can't order a burger in Spanish. I tried this method with Japanese first, a bunch of classes and thousands of dollars later. And I could conjugate verbs, but I couldn't have a simple conversation in Japanese about the weather. Now, here's the thing. The only reason I'm not putting this one straight into F tier is because structure actually matters. Having a curriculum and knowing what to learn next, basically just having a clear progression, that is valuable. Most people fail because they have no plan. So where does this one go? Traditional language classes, you're going into C tier. The structure component does save it from F tier, but the execution is still severely flawed. The 1000 sentence method. Okay, this sounds simple, right? Learn 1000 sentences in your target language and boom, fluent, right?
That is not correct.
I actually tried this early on as well with Japanese. By sentence 247 or something, I realized this is like telling someone to get fit by just running 1,000 miles. Technically, maybe true, but when you're memorizing, the cat sat on the table eating fish while the grandmother knitted a sweater, etc., you start questioning your life choices. Plus, finding 1000 good sentences may be very worth it, but still a full-time job. 1000 sentence method? C tier. Watching anime and TV shows. Look, just like the next guy, I love TV shows. I really do. But here's the thing. Most of them are packed with filler content. You're getting about 40% actual conversation, 60% explosions and dramatic pauses. I really hate to break it to you, but Nani is not going to help you get a job interview. But for the most part, a lot of the content is just not dense enough with conversation. It's okay, and I still use TV shows for a lot of my immersion, it's just not optimal. Watching TV shows and anime, for now, another C tier. Too much filler, not enough substance. Paper flashcards. Oh boy. I went through a phase with these. Within about 2 weeks, I lost half of them, and the other half looked like they went through a washing machine. Which they probably did. It's 2025, people. We have apps. We have spaced repetition algorithms. Paper flashcards are kind of like choosing to type on a typewriter because it has character. Sure, but why? Paper flashcards? F tier. Next victim. Studying while you sleep. Oh, this one's special. The fantasy that your brain will absorb Mandarin or Portuguese while you're dreaming about pizza. Well, I tested it, spent $97 on sleep learning audio programs. I woke up actually fluent on nothing except how to waste $97. Your brain doesn't work like that. Straight to the bottom, studying while you sleep, F tier, absolute scam. Language exchange partners. Okay, now we're getting into the decent stuff. Language exchange. Usually you teach them a bit of English, they teach you a bit of your target language, and it goes back and forth like this. The good? Real conversation practice. The bad? Finding real consistent language partners who aren't just looking for a quick free English lesson. But when it works, gold. You're actually using the language. Language exchange, solid B tier. Language apps like Duolingo. Everyone's favorite little green owl that guilt trips you into doing daily practice. And I'll give it this, it is great for getting started. The gamification keeps you coming back. But here's the reality. Duolingo is language learning fast food. It's tasty and it's convenient. But after 6 months of using it, you're still basically a beginner. It teaches you to translate, not to think in your target language. Apps like Duolingo, C tier. Better than nothing, but don't expect any miracles. The grammar translation method. This is where they teach you how to translate things before you can speak anything else at all. It's like learning to fix a car by memorizing the owner's manual before you even open the hood. I also tried this with Japanese. A few months later, I could diagram sentences like a pro, but I couldn't order a coffee. You're becoming a translator, not a speaker. Grammar translation method, F tier, absolutely brutal. Passive immersion. You know this one, playing podcasts or shows or YouTube videos in the background while you're doing other stuff. I spent 3 months with Chinese playing while I was working or washing the dishes or working out. The theory is basically osmosis language learning. The reality? It's better than nothing, but I estimate you might be getting 20% of the value that you would be getting if you were doing active immersion. It's still something that I do, especially with content I've already listened to in the past, but your brain probably isn't really processing it all that well. Passive immersion, I'm gonna give C tier. It's good for accumulating hours, but not that great for making actual progress, again, if you're lower than intermediate. Frequency dictionaries. Now, this is smart learning. You study the most commonly used words first. After all, the top 1,000 words in any given language make up about 75 to 80% of that language by volume. I've actually used frequency lists religiously. Start with hello, goodbye, eat, drink, instead of the platypus is contemplating existentialism. Frequency dictionaries, I'm giving A tier. This is 20% of effort for 80% results. Pimsleur audio method, the classic audio-only method. You listen, repeat, pause, very controlled, very structured. I've never actually gone through this method myself, but I've heard relatively okay things. The good is that it's pretty helpful for getting pronunciation more accurate. The bad? I've heard that the situations are often kind of dated. Plus, it keeps you in a little bit too much of a controlled bubble. After all, real conversation is messy. Pimsleur audio method will get a C tier. Active immersion. Now we're cooking with gas. Active immersion means you're fully in it. For example, if you're learning Chinese YouTube, Chinese TikTok, Chinese food orders, Chinese everything. After months of trying to go full Chinese mode as much as possible, my brain basically had to adapt or die. Within days even, I can begin to feel the difference. Active immersion gets an S tier. Essential for continued progress. Shadowing method. You listen to native speech and repeat it back in real time. It forces your brain to process and produce the language simultaneously. It feels kind of weird at first, but it helps you bypass the thinking in English problem. All in all, shadowing is great for pronunciation and flow. Shadowing method, a solid A tier. A super useful tool in your arsenal. Mass sentence mining. This is where you steal sentences from real content. I'm talking messages or movies or videos, and put those sentences directly into your flashcard deck. You're literally stealing fluency from other people. I did this hardcore for both Japanese and Chinese. I found sentences with words I wanted to learn and threw them into Anki. I would give it an A tier, but because it's a little bit time intensive, I'm giving it a solid B tier. Reading. Reading is actually an interesting one. The good is that you can take your time, reread, look up characters, and really pick apart the grammar. The bad is that if your goal is getting conversational, a lot of times the words that you might use when speaking differ from the ones that you'll use when you're reading or writing. So because sometimes it can cause confusion, again, depending on your goals, I'm gonna have to give reading an A tier. I would say that it's important, but it's not sufficient by itself. Anki/digital flashcards with spaced repetition. Okay, this is my not so secret weapon. Not just flashcards, spaced repetition flashcards. The algorithm figures out exactly when you need to review a card to ensure maximum retention. I reviewed hundreds of cards every single day for 6 months. It takes a little bit of time, but it's like having a personal trainer for your vocabulary. The algorithm knows just when you're about to forget something and it serves it up to you just in time. Absolute game changer for retention. Even though I know some people don't love doing flashcards, I'm still going to be giving this one an S tier. Comprehensible input, or the Stephen Krashen hypothesis. Here it is, you knew it was coming, the foundation of everything. Comprehensible input essentially just means consuming the language through the language. Then if you make sure that you're consuming content that's just a little bit above your current level, you are perfectly in line with the I+1 component of the Krashen hypothesis. This was and is my core strategy for language learning. For example, with Chinese, I started with Chinese children's shows, no shame, moved to the news and actual YouTube content, and then just continued to watch more and more advanced versions of that, basically. Your brain acquires a language naturally when it's getting regular comprehensible input. Everything else that I've mentioned that's pretty good, like flashcards or conversation practice, all supports this. This is your engine. Comprehensible input, S tier, the absolute foundation. Here are your final rankings if you want to know what ends up where. Learning a new language isn't about magic. It's also not about finding the one perfect method. It's about understanding how your brain actually acquires a language and working with it as opposed to against it. And look, if you're serious about learning a language, about actually finally becoming conversational, these rankings do matter. You can spend years in F or C tier methods, or you can get strategic and see real progress in months. I've put everything I've learned into Fluency Formula. The exact schedule, the specific resources, and everything you need to get conversational. If you're interested in getting a free insight into all of that stuff, then just click the link in the description. So until then, stop wasting time on methods that don't actually help you get conversational very fast, and start taking serious action on the ones that do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.